to PBG from a special fan? I didn't know I had any fans. Darkseed? Never heard of it. Oh well, guess I'll give it a review.
Darkseed is an old PC game. In fact, it's so old that I had to find a program called DOSBox, an MS-DOS emulator, just to play the game on my computer. Unfortunately, I had a lot of problems getting DOSBox to work for me, but once I finally figured it out, it was well worth it, if for no other reason than the art. The art in Darkseed is based off artwork by H.R. Geiger, most famous for his work in the Alien movies, so naturally there's a lot of stuff like this. You play as Mike Dawson, a science fiction writer that just loves to point out obvious things with elaborate detail.
What a quaint general store with a little bit of everything for day-to-day existence.
Mike recently moved into an old Victorian house, and during his first night there, he has a very strange dream of an alien creature being inserted into his head. He wakes up with what he describes in his own words as
The monster headache.
So Mike needs to explore his new neighborhood and figure out just what the heck is going on. The results end up being a bit more alien-y than he would have liked. Wait, alien-y? Did I seriously write that? That's just terrible. Whatever. Likely the first thing that you'll do in the game is look around. The town has 4 main areas: your house, which you start in, the town, the library, and the graveyard. There's also an area with a barber shop, but from what I can tell, you never use it in the entire game, which is really a shame because Mike's mullet could really use a trim. After you explore the town, you'll keep investigating different items, finding random things until you have to go to sleep. And then, probably sooner rather than later, you'll die because you either did something wrong or more than likely you didn't do something that you were supposed to.
And this is where the game becomes frustrating. There's literally no way to know what you're supposed to do without using a lot of trial and error, which I guess would be acceptable if the game was a little bit more forgiving, but trust me, it is anything but.
I mean, it would be challenging enough if you were just trying to figure out what you were supposed to do next, but simply doing or not doing one seemingly insignificant act can eventually cause your death. And when you die, you start all over again at the beginning. Here's an example. You need to steal the gun from the police station to win the game, but you're supposed to do it on the 2nd out of 3 days after you've been arrested. If you take the gun on the first day, you'll be arrested on the 2nd day as usual, but once you get out, an officer will be there keeping you from taking it. But how would you know that without playing all the way through the 2nd day? And why wouldn't you take it in the first day? It's just sitting right there. You're clearly supposed to pick it up. It's just a beginner's trap, and the game is littered with them to the point that you'll either need or at least want to use a walkthrough. On top of the countless beginner's traps, some things in the game are either incredibly difficult to find or just flat out illogical. Look at this bobby pin. How are you supposed to see that? It just looks like a crack in the ground, but you absolutely need it towards the end of the game. And in this scene, you're supposed to put the scotch in the car and use it as fuel. Maybe I just don't know that much about cars, but I would have never ever thought to do that. Is scotch even a valid form of fuel? Not that I know of. Eventually you go into the alien world, and I can honestly say it's worth going through some of the other crap just to see the artwork here. It's very frightening and in some cases even disturbing, but it's still a fun experience, and it's by far the best part of the game overall. The most interesting aspect of the alien world, other than the art, is how it coexists with the real world. If you do something like open a door in the real world, the same door will open in the alien world. And there's some very interesting puzzles in the game that take advantage of this gameplay mechanic.
Well, that's pretty much all there is to say about Darkseed. It's not a terrible game, but it just expects way too much of you. That being said, if you enjoy point-and-click puzzle adventure games, or you just like stories or art involving aliens like myself, you may want to check this one out. Just be prepared to either die and restart a lot, or, like I said, use a walkthrough. That was a good take. Alright, this game is messed up. Good riddance.
They had some sweet-looking Samus mannequins, but they didn't have a head for some reason. It was kind of disturbing. I don't know what the point of that was. Some of my favorite games that were there were Dead Space 2. Oh man, it looked amazing. I tried it out. Unfortunately, I was one of the first people to get in line.